Thanks a lot, Jack, and welcome everybody to our webinar for CBT Nuggets on professional development. Or as I like to say, the journey continues, because I'm sure as I'm looking at all these great folks out there, Aaron all the way down through James Clark and John, we got a couple of Johns out there, every single one of you have been involved in the industry that you're in, probably for several years. And that means that you've already developed yourself. You already have put a lot of time and effort in making sure that you're the best that you can be. But there comes a point sometimes when we say, I want to improve myself. And that's really what this webinar is all about. And I hope that you guys are going to have some fun as we give you some tips and tricks on how to do that, at least from my perspective. So what can I do to improve myself? And I had to throw this meme in there because every time someone used to tell me, you know, I want to improve myself. I want to get better at what I am. And I just imagine the people who stand in front of the mirror and they give themselves a pep talk every day to try to be better. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Maybe that works for you. But there are certain things that we can do in our industry that are really going to be helpful. And I really just want to kind of concentrate on 4 areas that I feel can help you in your professional development. And now we're going to talk about some conferences, certain conferences that you can go to where you can learn new things about your industry, or maybe even areas of the industry that you just don't really know about that. Maybe there are certifications that you can get. Things from everything from, as we're going to see, certifications that are vendor specific or maybe even vendor neutral, which is always good. Networking. How do I get together with other people just like me? Or maybe I'm spending too much money or too much time, I should say, and maybe money with people just like me. And I want to get to know other people and get challenged by what they do. For example, I was always involved in Cisco, and then all of a sudden someone says, hey, you should really check out some of the Juniper stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And then it was like, oh, wow, hey, there's other things that I can learn from another operating system and another way of doing things that made me better at what I did. And then finally, and this is always important, whether you're looking for another job, whether you're looking maybe to change your career, or maybe even find a different avenue in your career. How does that improve yourself? Well, we're going to find out as we take a look at that. The first thing that we're going to take a look at is going to be, of course, conferences. Now, I'm starting off with conferences mostly because this is where people say, conferences are great, Chris, but they're also very, very expensive. Yeah, they are. They can be, but there are some that are not as expensive as you might think. Now, of course, when you think of expensive, you could think of something that, one that cost me a lot of money, and that was when I was over here at the PMI Mega Seminars World. Anything that says mega in it, you know that you're going to probably pay mega bucks to go to it, or mega ren, or mega euros, mega pounds, as we have here in the UK. So one thing, though, about that is that any of these conferences that you go to are typically going to give you a whole bunch of different avenues to improve yourself, to really make yourself a better person. And they're pricey, but they can open up new opportunities for tech and yourself. Probably one of the ones that I've really wanted to go to, and several of our CBT Nuggets trainers and individuals have gone to, is AWS's reInvent. I mean, this is literally the largest gathering of Amazon Web Services community. And this is not only the current customers, it's people that are brand new to the cloud. What I love about this conference is the fact is that you can go out, and if you don't even know anything about cloud computing, you don't even know anything about spinning up virtual machines out in the cloud, you're going to learn from them. They have over 250 technical sessions at this thing. It's huge. It's a monster. And it's not only just about tech. Sometimes it's more about business, like Dreamforce going on right now. This is a 4-day conference. It's all about idea sharing, coming in and saying, hey, I want a different business solution. How can I do that? And they are also really big on inspiring people to do things. I always enjoyed some of those. I always like to go back and watch some of the seminars and some of the sessions, some of the speakers that I can go back and gain from. The one that I won't focus on it too much, but Spice World. This is where Spiceworks, the organization, the Spiceworks community, they get together and they put together an event with IT pros and marketers and all kinds of people, and you get to really come and share your tech tips. And they have over 50 IT marketing sessions. They have all kinds of speakers, as I'm going to show you here in just a second. Then, of course, there's Interop, which is all about networking infrastructure and technologies that you have. It really helps drive business success, they like to say. And something new that some of our instructors have been going to as part of our Google. If you watch CBT Nuggets training, you know that Garth Schulte and Ben Finkel are Google certified professionals and developers, and they say this is an amazing event. You learn about technology platforms, all different types, and so you can see what kind of products you have, what are some of the upcoming technologies that Google's doing. So this is just a small thing that you can, some of them that you can do. Brian McCann is posting that Microsoft Ignite just happened, offers all their sessions on demand for free. That is definitely another plus. You know, just find those seminars, those conferences that really help you. And it's rather simple. Just start talking to your friends and coworkers and say, hey, if you go to a conference, what kind of conference would you go to? And they might say, oh, well, I want to go to Interop. Or, ooh, man, boy, I wish I could go to that Spice World conference because, hey, I hear they have really cool speakers that are going to be speaking there. So sorry about that. Shameless plug. I know I'm going to be at Spice World in Austin. So, but it's a great idea to go to these conferences. But look at what you might do. Like here's one that's talking about basic PowerShell tool making. Find your Office 365 Mojo, script centers. I mean, these are all things that you can learn by going to these conferences. It's going to help you develop and be better at what you do. So you have conferences. Then you've got certifications. Now, I group these into two different groups, and you probably, if you're looking carefully, you can notice the difference between these. You have these up here, as I take my magic drawings marker here. These are what we would call vendor specific. Obviously Juniper is going to be one that's Juniper focused. Cisco, the CCNA, it's kind of like the bellwether of certifications for networking. It's been around quite a long time. Of course, our good friends at Microsoft. If you're working with Microsoft products, there's several different types of MCSEs. I actually have two of them. I have one for communications and one with server infrastructure. So you can really specialize if you want to do that. Or another one that I hold is the PMP, the Project Management Professional. So if you're in the world of project management and you really want to show to your bosses or to your peers that you are willing to go out and share your knowledge and also increase your knowledge, certifications is a great way of doing that. Then you'll notice down here we have a different group. These are the vendor neutral ones. And we have CompTIA, of course. There's Network Plus. There's A Plus. There's Cloud Security Plus. I mean, they have all these different vendor neutral certifications that are always good. Okay, these are always ones that will help you. And if you're putting together your CV or your resume, you want to make sure that you have maybe a couple of vendor neutral ones because, it's good that you're really good at Cisco. It's good that you're really good at Microsoft. But sometimes that can get you pigeonholed into, well, that's all that person can do. You might not want to do that. ITIL, this is really good from an IT service management. If you're going to be getting into management in IT, this is a great certification to get. The ITIL Foundations is an amazing certification because it crosses the line between being the IT help desk guy or the IT manager all the way up into the business side of things, which is really good. And it's not about Cisco, Microsoft, Juniper, VMware, or any other of the vendors. It's very vendor neutral. And then even some in the cloud technology. One that I was just looking at and kind of getting some feedback on from a friend of mine was the CCSK, right? It's vendor neutral and it's all about security areas. It's put together by the Cloud Security Alliance and it's really great. Just another example of something that you can go out and get that's not vendor specific, but yet will help you in your day-to-day job or advance you in your job. Because ultimately, if we really break this down, what we really want to be able to do is we want to advance. We want to get better. It's all about development in the areas that we are working in or the areas we would like to work in. That's always important. That's all about conferences. We've got certifications, but there's also the world of networking. And I brought up two of the ones that I'm very familiar with, just because, number one, I have a friend who is, a prime forum guy here in the VMware user group. I'm also I have to sign up for my local Spice Corps here in the UK, but Spice Corps is another example, at least in the States, where guys and gals get together and meet and talk about the things that they face on a day-to-day basis. Man, how do you guys handle this in your environment? Anytime I need to update our machines, it's always in the middle of the biggest sales week or sales cycle, and we always get shut down by business. How do you handle that? Where are you going to go? You can go and talk with your peers. And that's what networking is truly about. It's getting together with your peers and getting together with people that they know exactly what you're going through. Yeah, I know all about that. Or, hey, how do you stop people from writing their passwords on sticky notes and sticking it in their desk? And people say, that doesn't happen today, Chris. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Well, how do you stop that? Things like that, where you can get together and just sometimes, at least the one Spice Corps in Arizona where I was in, we usually were getting together at the local pub. And so, hey, there you go. That might be a great place to go. Now, there are two areas of focus I like to say that you want to look at. One is going to be the area of your current employment. Always good to make sure that wherever job you're at, whatever career that you currently have, make sure that you get involved in some sort of networking group. And it might be just literally meeting guys or gals that you see at some of these conferences and saying, hey, you're from Phoenix? Hey, I'm from Phoenix. Hey, I heard Brian McCann's from Phoenix. You go down there and you get together and you just talk about things. Then there's also a great thing to do, and that is the area of where you would like to be. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Technology changes so rapidly. Wouldn't you agree? Technology, if I was doing the same thing I was doing 10 years ago, well, that's it's almost crazy. I still do project management and I still do training, but what I train on, how I train, has changed so rapidly. So rapidly. And so that's why it's always important to not only think about where you currently are, but always have an eye on the future, gang. Always have an eye on where you want to be, because that truly is the epitome of professional development. You're always thinking about today, but you're also looking at tomorrow. And hey, take what you've learned in the past, use it today, and think about what you're going to do in the future. Which brings me to the next part, and that's marketing yourself. Okay, research is always important, and no matter how much you love your current job, because technology changes so rapidly, sometimes your career might change very rapidly. And so making sure people know about you and your industry is huge. It is so important. And I'm not just talking about, obviously maybe some of you are right now in the midst of looking for a new job. And there's some great sites out there to help you with that. Monster is really good because it not only is a place where you can go look for jobs, it tells you how to get ready for the interview. How to dress for the interviews, what to say, how to ask the right questions, how to answer certain questions that HR might throw at you. They had a great article on how to make sure that your resume or your CV climbs to the top of that stack or goes through the filtering process, because they've got scripting now that runs through when you do the online one, and how to really make yourself stand out. Well, that's stuff that you can learn by going to some of these sites. Live Career is a good one. Mighty Recruiters, another one. One here in the UK, I just love the name, Fish for Jobs. I'm fishing for jobs, right? I'm looking for something that will help me. And then to market yourself, here is two great examples. One is a friend of mine recommended for the ladies that Women in Technology is a great way to not just concentrate on just being a woman in technology, but also learn what is out there and how to develop yourself to make yourself show up in front of people as whether it's a job interview or whether it's in their current place of employment, or how to advance technology and to not just settle, but to go for more. And it was really neat. I got to see some things there. And then, of course, most of us are familiar with LinkedIn. Now, yeah, LinkedIn has gotten a bad rap for certain things because it pretty much lets just about anybody and everybody do things on there. And you're like, why am I seeing, Amway representatives and all those are on here and they're trying to sell me stuff. But if you think about it, I've actually met two of the people that I work with and that I've done some consulting jobs. And this was more in the past, and I did it through LinkedIn. It's a great resource to go out, and don't be afraid of just communicating with people, because people are going to want to be your, I say connection, and I almost said friend, like Facebook. Click on, I like this. No, LinkedIn is a great place from a business standpoint, and if there are people that are just out there trying to sell you stuff, you can of course block them, but find people that you can relate to and that you can learn from. That really help you, where you say, wow, that article that Gerardo put out there, or that article that Diana Reyes put out there, boy, awesome stuff. I'm going to follow her and watch what some of the stuff that she posts. Who does she connect with? What are some of the companies that she works with? It could be, and not only that, but, all of you, and I'm kind of talking to those of you in the States, in the United States, hey, look outside of the USA box. Check out there, like Matthew has been typing in from Ghana. Look and see what technology is doing in other parts of the world. Learn at what's happening outside of the U.S. And I would say, even for those of you who are outside the U.S., look into the box of the USA. Learn new things. Take it, use it if it works. If it doesn't, hey, toss it to the side. That's always important when you're doing professional development. We used to say in the business, to get some pearls, you're going to have to shuck or open a lot of oysters. And some of that, you're just going to be throwing it away. But then you're going to pop open a couple and you're going to go, yeah, that's the good stuff. That's what I want to do. So, want to finalize a few things and then kind of open up and take some of the questions. Make sure you chat in some questions. I know some of this is almost like drinking from the fire hose, where you're like, whoa, a lot of information. And remember, you can always go back and view the webinar, see some of the suggestions I make. But I do have Chris's handy-dandy tips on how to do things, not just about technology, but just you as a person, but it will help you in your job in technology. And the first off is going to be Toastmasters. If you want to advance yourself anywhere in business, even in the business of IT, at some point you are going to have to make a presentation in front of somebody. And the best way to do that is to go and join your local Toastmasters. And this is internationally. This is worldwide. Okay? You really need to concentrate on how to make yourself a better communicator and to do it in front of groups of people. When you do that, you will be amazed where you used to be scared to death about standing in front of people and making a presentation and all eyes are on you and you're like, oh no, what am I going to do? Toastmasters will help you. And it helps you to do presentations that are concise, that are specific and focused, that really point you to point your audience, I should say, to the things that they need to do. And when I started off doing drama and acting, even my acting coach says, go to Toastmasters. You really need to learn about how to make things concise in presentations. It's good. Now, I said, forget Facebook. And I know a couple people go, but wait, that's where I learned how to vote for people or what's going on in the world. No, Facebook is great to catch up with family and friends and post pictures of your kitties and doggies and what food you do. I am notorious for it. If you see me on Facebook, I do the same thing. Hey, I'm not blaming anybody or pointing fingers, but from a professional development standpoint, that's not where you're going to develop yourself. It's a great social interaction. That's true social media, but forget Facebook. That's one of my tips. And then finally, improve your vocabulary. I as a communicator, one of the things that I have constantly had to strive to do and to develop is, how do I communicate clearly, concisely? How do I do it in a way that catches people's attention? And not that you have to use big $30 words, as we would say. It's not like you have to memorize a dictionary. But if all you do is talk and use the same terms every single time, and you don't use anything that expands that, people, unfortunately, and I know it's very unfortunate, they will look at you and they will rank your intelligence based upon the words that you use. It's just a fact. People do it. They've done studies on how where you have somebody come in and they'll look at somebody and they might not be dressed as well as this other person, but the one person just uses just general slang and, like, right, and yeah, and then I just went in and did this like stuff and it's like, and they're like, what? Yeah, whatever. That's not going to happen or help you in your environment where they had somebody that was dressed maybe a little less, but they were very specific. They used words that were not only $30 words, but maybe even a $15 word. Things like that. So improve your vocabulary. Talk about things that will expand your horizons. That's really what the vocabulary is to help you to do, to communicate better. And if you are, maybe English is not your first language and you're working in a company where English is the primary language, work to make your understanding of the language better and help improve your speech and vocabulary. And the same thing is true. A lot of times Americans especially come to Europe and they just expect everybody is going to speak English. And that's not necessarily the case. And so they have to learn how to communicate in the language of the company or the business that they're in. Okay? All right. So questions. Just want to, leave us plenty of time for some questions. I've got about 5 in here. Brian McKenna's also said that, Microsoft Ignite offers sessions on demand for free. Very good point. Thanks, Brian. Andre says, great talk, quick question. Tips for wardrobe, and what about tattoos? I always say to dress at least one step higher than a standard business wardrobe of that company. The best thing to do, I know this sounds weird, almost like you're a stalker, but go to the company that you're going to interview at. Watch the people as they make their way into the office. What are they wearing? Is it business casual? Is it t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops? I mean, there are some companies that do that. Well, obviously, wearing a 3-piece suit into that company might not be the best thing to do. However, if you wear khaki slacks and a short-sleeve polo shirt that's clean and dressed and you look clean and dressed right, that will be helpful. Because they would see maybe somebody with a 3-piece suit and say, I don't think this is going to be a good fit because we're kind of really laid back, man. So you might want to do that. What about tattoos? Remember that it depends on your culture. In the United States, at least, tattoos are becoming less taboo and less of an issue. However, if you've got like a full-on sleeve of tattoos and you're going to apply, it's probably not something you want to just broadcast in an interview. It's nothing wrong with it. And obviously, depending on the company, because a lot of times people just think that tech guys, well, they're back in the server closet. Nobody's going to see them, so they can, wear whatever they want. And that's not as true these days. So we always have to watch for that. Karen's got a great question. What if I want to change my career trajectory? For example, if I'm currently at a help desk and I want to go into security, how can I do that? The best thing to do is first off, find somebody that's doing the job you want to do. Take them to coffee. Take them to lunch. Say, hey, can I take you out for a latte or a cup of tea? And I just have some questions about what it is that you do and what is it like. So that way you can truly get a good understanding about what it is. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to find out, well, wait a minute, what certifications are good in that area? Where can I find some good training? Little dovetail there into CBT Nuggets. CBT Nuggets is a great way to learn a lot about a lot of things. We have over 10,000 videos on IT tech topics. So definitely something you can pop in. And the nice thing is they're about 10 to 15 minutes max, and you can start learning. And that's how you're going to get into security if you're at a help desk. And what I find, Karen, is that a lot of times when you're at a help desk, you're already picking up a lot of the terminology, some of the tactics, and some of the technologies that's going to help you with that. It's going to work really well. Sherry says, I enjoy learning about technology and currently employed in technology sector, but I have a passion for projects and project management and tend to do more research, reading up on that. It is essential. I do IT certs for my job, but I find myself aiming to do project certs first. Could you advise on what I could do? Well, Sherry, I'll tell you this much. As a project manager and a PMP, I am PMP certified. I'm also an ITIL expert, and I also have an MCSE, and like I said, in 2 areas. Had my CCNP at one time, kind of let that slide. I probably should go back and learn from Jeremy how to do that. But I would tell you this, that project management these days, especially if you have that background in technology and you say you like technology, I would definitely go for the ITIL courses. And that way it shows you how IT service management is that blend of technology and project management for businesses. And that's really going to take you far. Let's see. What else we got? Jose says, Guillermo says, I want to know if Linux has a good future to get and a specialization. Linux? Yeah. I mean, the internet runs on Linux, pretty much. Watch Sean Powers' CBT Nuggets series. You can get a free week, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong at the end, Jack, but I think they're having where you can do a free week and check things out. Check that out. Jose says, do you ever feel guilty about leaving a company for a better opportunity? It just depends. How do you leave the company for the better opportunity? I'll tell you this much. Your professionalism, when you go to the job that you're currently at and say, I have a better opportunity, I have enjoyed working with you and doing what I've done, and this, by the way, is even if maybe you haven't had the best time, always leave on a good note. Do not burn your bridges, because you never know. You have a better opportunity, and let's say that company goes away. Well, now you have to get a recommendation from some of the companies that you've worked for. And if you've always left a bad taste in their mouth, Jose, that's not good. So always that's how I recommend. If there's a better opportunity, definitely try to take it. But make sure it's not just about money, because money doesn't always mean happiness or a better way of life. Matthew says, aside of Toastmasters, how do I build up my... and then Nicholas asks pretty much the same question about how do I make it better or easier if I don't have that. Find a small boys and girls club or a charitable organization where maybe they have young people, and then practice maybe teaching them some IT skills, especially if you know stuff like, hey, how to build computers. Go get some old computers and invite some young people and just say, hey, gang, come on in here. I'm going to show you how to put together a computer. And you're going to learn how to interact and engage, get them, really excited about it. And it's something that you're excited about. That's good stuff. John Fairborn says, how to know what certs are in demand or what is wanted. Great question. John, the best thing to do right now is there are several organizations out there, including several training organizations out there, that have put out some studies that they've done on which certs are in demand. And I do believe that there are, in fact, I think even in our CBT Nuggets blog series that we've talked a little bit about that. Go to our blog and do a search on that. And actually, I think one of our blog folk is in here. Maybe she could pop in maybe a suggestion on that as well. But good question, John. All right, I got 1 more minute, so let's do this. Mohammed says, what do you think are the most trending categories in IT future? Cloud, security, programming, etc. Yes. Sorry, Mohammed. Yes. Cloud, definitely. Security, yes. But there's been kind of a little bit of a backlash on the cloud, and so people are still trying to bring stuff back in-house because of even though you, quote, have control, it's still out somewhere else, and especially if there is security issues. Great question. And then Travis says, they gave me my big break, but they hired me with no experience. I make a lot less money. I'll read this fast. How do I ask for a raise properly without shooting myself in the foot? First thing you should do is look at what it is that you do, Travis. Go through and say, this is what I do on a day-to-day basis. This is how I bring... or I should say how I either save the company money or I make the company money. And then when you can show that, and then you walk in and just say, I feel that what I do is worth more. Do a little research, see what other people that do the exact same job. Make sure it's an apples-to-apples comparison, though, Travis. Apples-to-apples comparison. And also check out a really great forum on this is our CBT Nuggets forum, because you can talk to people that are in the trenches. Jack, who's going to come on here in about 20 seconds and talk to you about it, will tell you how to get hooked up into that, Travis. It's a great community. Or Spiceworks. Get to the Spiceworks community. I'm involved in there, and you can always throw those questions up, and you will get some really good, sometimes humorous, but very good feedback on that. I think you'll do real well. And final question. Karen says, how much time should I dedicate to professional development? I would say, and this is my personal opinion, anywhere from 20 to 30% of your time should be professional development. And people say, that's a lot of time. Now, actually, if you think about it, if we took some of that time when we get home and yeah, we got to catch up on the football scores, and yeah, we got to catch up on this. But if you just took a little bit of that time, 20% to 30% of that time, and put on a CBT little nugget, 15, 10 minutes, do maybe one or two of those, take your lunch time and do that, you're going to find that you are developing yourself and you're learning and you're becoming a better IT tech worker, maybe even a manager. So that's all I got for you guys. And boy, thank you so much for taking 30 minutes out of your busy schedule to join me. And I hope that you will be watching some of our CBT Nuggets series in the future. But on behalf of all of us, I do have one last thing to say, and that is this. If you feel you've arrived, that feeds pride, and pride kills urgency. Lack of progression leads to regression. So make sure that you guys are advancing in your careers. Keep developing. Best wishes to you all. Jack, it's back to you.